The most dangerous lie we tell ourselves about strength. Good afternoon. I want to start by introducing you to someone whose work is quietly dismantling everything we thought we knew about resilience, leadership, and what it truly means to build a legacy. Konitia Dotey is not just a visionary leader, they are a disruptor. They are creating spaces where Black women professionals and entrepreneurs, women who have been taught to carry the weight of the world without complaint, can finally set down their burdens, breathe deeply, and remember who they are beneath all that armor. Their impact is not just profound, it is urgent. And today I want to share what they taught me, what the research reveals, and what we all desperately need to hear. Because here's the truth we rarely say out loud. We have been taught that strength means never breaking, that leadership means never resting, that success means never stopping. And for Black women especially, the message has been even harsher. Be twice as good, work twice as hard, smile through the pain, carry everyone, save everyone. And whatever you do, do not let them see you tired. But what if I told you that this entire framework, this whole belief system we have built our lives around, is not just exhausting, it is dangerous? What if the very thing we think makes us strong is actually the thing that is breaking us? And what if the most revolutionary thing we could do, the most disruptive act of leadership we could commit, is to choose softness, healing, and self preservation, not as luxuries, but as necessities? Let me start with something that might make you uncomfortable. We live in a culture that glorifies resilience. We celebrate the people who bounce back, who rise again, who overcome impossible odds. And yes, resilience is powerful, but here is what nobody talks about. Resilience without healing is just survival, and survival is not the same as living. Konitia Dotey reminded me of this when we spoke. They have seen it firsthand. Women who have survived betrayal, manipulation, systemic oppression, and personal trauma, only to keep moving forward without ever stopping to tend to the wounds. These women are praised, they are called strong, they are held up as examples, but inside they are running on empty. Inside they are one more crisis away from collapse. And this is where the counterintuitive truth emerges. The women who prioritize their own healing, who pause to process their pain, who refuse to keep performing strength when they need rest, these are not the weak ones. These are the ones who will lead us into the future. Because healing is not a detour from success, healing is the foundation of it. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine a woman who decides to build something from nothing. Not because she has all the answers, not because she has unlimited resources, but because she understands that authenticity, vulnerability, and truth are more powerful than any facade of perfection. That woman is Dr. Jacqueline King, founder and CEO of Black Women Empowered. And what she built is nothing short of extraordinary. Dr. King created a global online community of over 4 million people. 4 million Black professionals and entrepreneurs connected across continents, creating opportunities for visibility, collaboration, and mutual growth. But here's what makes her story so disruptive. Dr. King did not build this empire by pretending she had it all together. She built it by being real, by showing up as herself, flaws and all, by channeling her own experiences with adversity, her own struggles, her own healing journey into a movement that gave other women permission to do the same. She faced skepticism everywhere she turned. People doubted that you could build authentic trust in virtual spaces where everyone is trained to be guarded. She faced digital barriers that would have stopped most people in their tracks. But she leveraged social media with consistency, with faith, with empowerment, and most importantly, with vulnerability. She recognized early the power of digital storytelling and community building. She understood that people do not connect with perfection, they connect with truth. And what happened? She did not just grow a platform. She redefined what networking looks like for Black professionals. She proved that resilience, authenticity, and collective support can break traditional barriers that have stood for generations. She showed us that when you lead from a place of healing, when you refuse to hide your humanity, you do not just build a business, you build a legacy, you create a movement, you give millions of people permission to be whole. Now, let us talk about what happens when we ignore this truth, when we refuse to heal, when we keep pouring into others without refilling our own cup. Because that is the second insight Konitia Dotey shared with me, and it is one we desperately need to internalize. Self preservation is not selfish, it is non negotiable. Think about it. We are taught to give, to serve, to show up, to be there for our families, our communities, our teams, our clients. And there is beauty in that, there is power in that. But here's the problem: we are never taught to stop. We are never taught to say, I have given enough today. I need to rest. I need to refill. I need to protect my peace. And for Black women, this is even more complicated because we carry not just our own burdens, but generational ones. We carry the weight of ancestors who survived slavery, Jim Crow, systemic racism. We carry the expectations of families who sacrificed so we could have opportunities they never had. We carry the pressure to represent, to uplift, to never let anyone down. And so we keep going. We keep giving. We keep pouring until there is nothing left. But here's what the research shows, and this is critical: leaders who prioritize their own well being, who set boundaries, who practice self care are not less effective. They are more effective. They make better decisions. They build stronger relationships. They create more sustainable organizations. They lead from abundance, not depletion. And that changes everything. Let me tell you about something revolutionary happening at Babson College. The Black Women's Entrepreneurial Leadership Program, co created by Maria Casanova Brown, was designed with a radical understanding. Black women face unique challenges, systemic barriers that are real and persistent, limited access to mentorship and capital, underrepresentation in leadership across nearly every industry. And so this program did not just offer business training, it embedded mentorship, community, and purpose driven leadership into its very foundation. It focused on both personal and professional growth. It created safe spaces for healing and collaboration. The program emerged from a profound recognition that Black women's unique challenges required tailored solutions, that you cannot separate the personal from the professional. That trauma, generational or otherwise, does not stay home when you go to work. That healing is not a luxury for entrepreneurs, it is a necessity. And when you create space for women to grow as whole people, not just as workers or business owners, magic happens. Graduates of this program launched successful ventures that are changing their communities. They created support networks that continue to uplift and empower. They became mentors themselves, paying forward what they received. The program did not just change individual lives, it inspired similar programs nationwide. It advanced equity and leadership for Black women across industries. It proved that when you prioritize healing, when you refuse to separate success from well being, you do not just help women succeed, you help them transform entire systems. But here's the part that might challenge everything you believe about success, because this is where the counterintuitive idea really hits home. We think that the way to build a legacy is to work harder, to do more, to sacrifice more, to prove ourselves over and over again. But what if the real way to build a legacy is to stop, to rest, to heal, to say no? Konitia Dotey taught me this. And there is a woman named Alvina Hayden who lived it in a way that will shake you to your core. Alvina faced personal and professional setbacks that would have broken most people. She faced generational trauma that whispered lies about her worth. She faced societal pressure to conform to narrow definitions of success that had nothing to do with her truth. And she could have kept pushing. She could have kept performing. She could have kept pretending everything was fine, wearing the mask, carrying the cape. But instead, she did something radical, something disruptive, something that changed everything. She embraced vulnerability. She redefined success on her own terms. She built new support networks and business models centered on healing and empowerment, not just profit and productivity. Her journey is rooted in a commitment to healing, authenticity, and collective advancement. She used her experiences, her pain, her trauma to uplift others. And the result? She created sustainable businesses that continue to thrive. She fostered innovation in space that desperately needed fresh perspectives. She inspired others to break generational cycles that had held their families captive for decades. She became a recognized leader, mentor, and advocate for Black women entrepreneurs. She shifted the narrative around success and leadership, emphasizing legacy, well being, and generational impact. She proved that when you transform your pain into purpose, when you refuse to let survival be your only story, you do not just change your life, you change the world. So here is what I need you to understand. Resilience is a superpower, but only when it is paired with healing, only when it is grounded in self preservation, only when it is built on a foundation of authenticity, boundaries, and rest. Because the truth is, you cannot pour from an empty cup, you cannot lead from a place of depletion. You cannot build a legacy if you are too exhausted to live. And this is not just about individual well being, this is about collective liberation. Because when Black women heal, when they prioritize themselves, when they refuse to keep carrying the weight of the world, they create space for others to do the same. They model a new way of leading, a new way of living, a new way of being. Think about Dr. Jacqueline King. She did not just build a platform for herself, she built a global community of 4 million people who now have access to opportunities they never had before. Think about the Black Women's Entrepreneurial Leadership Program. It did not just help a few women, it inspired a movement that is advancing equity across entire industries. Think about Alvina Hayden. She did not just redefine success for herself, she gave countless others permission to do the same. This is the power of healing. This is the power of self preservation. This is the power of choosing softness in a world that taught you survival. Because when you heal, you do not just change your story, you change the story for everyone who comes after you. Now, let me ask you something that might make you uncomfortable. What would it look like if you stopped trying to be strong all the time? What would it look like if you gave yourself permission to rest, to heal, to say no without guilt or explanation? What would it look like if you led from a place of abundance instead of depletion? What would it look like if you built your legacy not on how much you sacrificed, but on how much you honored yourself? Because here's the final truth, and I need you to hear this. The most disruptive thing you can do, the most revolutionary act you can commit is to choose yourself, to honor your healing, to protect your peace, to refill your own cup. Not because it is easy, not because it is comfortable, but because it is necessary, because you deserve it, because the world needs you whole, not broken, rested, not exhausted, healed, not just surviving. Konitia Dotey is building a world where Black women can do exactly that, where they can release the cape, where they can redefine strength, where they can embrace softness without apology. And today, right now, in this moment, I am challenging you to join them. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to take one action this week. Just one. It does not have to be big. It does not have to be perfect, but it has to be honest. Maybe it is saying no to something that drains you. Maybe it is setting a boundary you have been afraid to set. Maybe it is scheduling time for rest and actually keeping that appointment with yourself. Maybe it is reaching out for support instead of pretending you have it all together. Maybe it is simply acknowledging that you are tired, that you are hurting, that you need help. Whatever it is, do it. Because when you take that one step toward your own healing, toward your own self preservation, toward your own wholeness, you are not just transforming your life, you are transforming your family. You are transforming your community. You are transforming your industry. You are transforming the future for every Black woman who comes after you. This is not about being weak. This is about being wise. This is not about giving up. This is about giving yourself what you have been giving everyone else. This is not about abandoning your responsibilities. This is about recognizing that you are one of those responsibilities. So I am asking you today, how will you honor your own healing and resilience while building a legacy that empowers others to do the same? What will you release? What will you reclaim? What will you refuse to carry any longer? And what will you finally give yourself permission to become? Because the world does not need more exhausted Black women performing strength. The world needs healed Black women modeling wholeness. The world needs you, rested and restored, leading from overflow instead of empty. The world needs your softness, your authenticity, your boundaries, your joy. Take that step. Start today and watch how it transforms not just your path, but your community's future. Watch how it creates permission for others. Watch how it breaks generational cycles. Watch how it builds the legacy you were always meant to leave. This is your invitation. This is your moment. This is your soft girl era. Claim it, live it, lead from it. Thank you.